Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're gonna talk about GoPro Hero 8. So let's dive right into it. Well, first we have to understand we are talking about action camera, aka it should be cheap. It should be around 30,000 rupees or $400 or something generally lower than that. And it has to be small and compact. It's not a luxury that you can be like, okay, it could be big, it would not matter. No, it has to be small and it has to be compact because you may want to take it into a ski resort. You may want to take it into, let's say, water park. In those sort of scenario, you have to have something that is quote unquote discreet, and it must be rugged so you can rely on it. It's not like a normal camera where you have to baby it. It's something that can take a beating. If you are basically doing mountain biking, you want your camera to survive if you fall, because most of the time you're gonna fall. So, and not to mention, it's something that you can be damn sure it's so rain proof that if you are using it in storm or in sea, it should keep working. So mindset of requiring an action cam is completely different than mindset required for a normal video camera. So you have to take that into consideration when you're thinking about cameras. On top of that, the final you get a lot of things with action camera, but you lose certain things, primary of which is video quality. Never ever compare the video quality of action cameras to a full frame camera, or God forbid a cinema camera. They are way far apart. So with that, let's dive right deep into GoPro Hero 8. Now this was released in October 15, 2019, and generally by a new year people started to actually buy it, like stocks were full, and it was launched at around $400 price point, and right now you can easily buy it around $250, $250, and some places people are getting even cheaper than that. Now GoPro has been at it, like the action camera market, for a very long time because they established this market. So they have a certain experience and people require things, and they are like, okay, we're gonna provide. So many consequences of having a small sensor is generally people use a smaller processor, so you do not have a high bit rate coming out of it. So if you can get high bit rate coming out of it, you can fine tune the color, you can make a cheap camera look a bit better. So they are like, okay, instead of 75 mbps, which was the maximum previous generation could give you, they are upping it up to 100 mbps. Now 100 mbps is quite comparable to a DSLR bit rate wise, not in terms of like actual fidelity and dynamic range, but it is actually comparable. So they improved that aspect. Then we are talking about the fingers. Now generally GoPros, the idea with GoPros was you're gonna make a camera, but camera is very expensive and delicate, so you're gonna make a case around it, cage so to say, and that cage will go take a beating. The cage will provide the water protection and all that jazz. Now that worked for very flawlessly for, like, GoPro 1, 2, 3, 4 and all that jazz. Then they started to switch, so the waterproofing is started to be done into the camera itself rather than requiring you to have a cage. So even if you not using a cage, everything will still work, it will still be waterproof. And in last generation they did that, previous generation they did that. In this time they are pushing it one step forward. So that step forward is the finger grip that is used for every single mounting technology that is used, like mounting accessories so to say. GoPro has a unique mounting style. Now every Tom, Dick and Harry copies this, simply because again you want to sell as a Chinese copy of your camera. You want to make sure everybody can use this with existing accessories. So this time GoPro is pushing that accessories out of the cage itself, so that that finger that mounts into everything, they're like, okay, that's integrated into the body itself, so you do not have to even think about that. So right now this is the closest you can get without cage. Basically you do not need case or cage anymore. And in terms of software improvement, they made time warp and hyperspoon extremely capable. At this point in time, if you are buying this camera, you do not need a gimbal. Only in certain extreme scenario you may be like, hey, it would be nice if I had a gimbal, but 99.99% of time you'll be like, yeah, I no longer need a gimbal. You just need a handle or grip, and that's it. Like you can even do like this, or you can have a hand grip. Generally people recommend a grip, and that's it. Like you are walking around, you do not have to worry about balancing a gimbal and battery charging a gimbal and paying for that gimbal. So GoPro 8 is a very good start. Now what are you gonna get? Like if you bought this, what are you gonna get compared to older GoPros? Now stabilization and time warping and all that jazz, those are butter smooth in this, simply because GoPro have the luxury of experience. So every feature they are adding, that you're not seeing the feature now, you are seeing the feature that has been polished over 3 to 4 generations. So it's completely different level. There are companies like, be it Sony, be it Atomos, and be it Insta360, or many companies that are doing things, but none of them will compare to this. Like in terms of smoothness, you will like, okay, I want to do this, camera is like, I got this. Like the fact that you can trust your camera blindly shows how polished this is. That's the one luxury you're gonna get. It's like, I bought this, I don't have to worry about it anymore. So, and that translates into the user interface also, because GoPro has a different approach. Like iPhone is like iPhone, every iPhone is the same, so the interface is very smooth. They are approaching it a bit differently. They change the interface if they think it's required. They will not follow a legacy infrastructure. So side effect, if you are coming from, let's say, GoPro 7 to 8, you may find it like, what the hell, every menu is changed. However, once you get used to it, you'll be like, this is far more refined, far more fine-tuned, and people's feedback has been taken into account. So that's a good thing. Feature set wise, even interesting modes have been added where you can take photographs that are 30-second longs, aka you can do starter, and they have a nightscape ability built in, so you can do quite amazing things if you want to. And if you really want to push your vlogging to next level, you can buy a media cage where you can get 2 cords to mount. Depending on your use case, you can mount light into that, you can mount microphone into that. And GoPro is still working on making a small monitor now. It should have been released by this point, but again, the world ended, so I'm not sure when it's gonna come out. But a small mic, which will small display that will act as a flip-up screen, so you will know how to compose yourself. So all of those will be powered by one battery, so you do not have to be like, okay, is this powered or that powered? No, all of them will work from one center point. So it's quite amazing, quite refined, and if you buy this, there's 99.99% chance you will be happy with it. However, there are some severe consequences with this. Now, this company, if you trace their stock market, their evaluation, their growth pattern, you will realize they are becoming like Apple. AKA, Apple in the early days, they were like selling mobile phones like there is no tomorrow. Like they used to actually boast about like, we sold 10 million this year, we sold 12 million this year, we sold 15 million. And after a point, they stopped showing that number, simply because everybody who wanted to buy iPhone already bought it. Same happened with here also, because GoPro has been running for so long. Everybody who wants to buy an action cam generally has an action cam. It does not mean all of them have a GoPro itself, but anybody who needs an action camera already has it, aka if they can afford it. So reality is they are no longer growing as they used to. But again, you have to grow infinitely if you are in stock market, if you want to survive. That's the side effect. So they are doing what Apple did. Apple is like, okay, we are not making too much profit out of our primary components, aka laptops. What if we can make a lot of profit out of dongles? So they are like, let's remove things from the main laptop, and people are like, hey, I want this and that. You're like, buy this dongle. So GoPro is doing that exact same thing. That's the most horrifying part. So they removed lens guard. Now lens guard is a very critical thing, because no matter how strong that glass is, does not matter whether it's sapphire glass, diamond glass, or gorilla glass, it will scratch up, it will get dinged up, it might even fracture or break flat out. Nothing is indestructible. And when you are talking about a camera that will be in a rough position, that will fall and break, and things of that nature will happen to it, undeniably, you want something that can take abuse. Now that's the whole selling point of GoPros. They are like, okay, we'll not design a camera that is indestructible, we'll design a case that is partially indestructible. So once you destroy it, you change the case. They did that with like a GoPro 7 was waterproof, but they still had a replaceable lens cap. The idea with the lens cap was like that lens cap will again act as a barrier, so to protect your primary lens. And if it gets damaged, which happens over time, it happens, especially if you are doing anything action oriented, like mounting it on a GoPro and like mounting it on GoPro, and mounting it on a drone and crashing it, or mountain biking, seeing things of that nature. The lens will, the cover will get damaged sooner or later, today or tomorrow it will happen. So GoPro knew about that, and they gave a very amazing solution. They're like, okay, this is a cap, so to say, lens cap you buy, and once it gets damaged, you buy a newer one. It's very cheap, around $10. And because the mount was standardized, many companies started to release ND filters for that, or there are mounts you can buy where you can mount a like proper camera lens to that, although the magnification will become ludicrous, but it can be done. So it was a very amazing idea, because the waterproofing is still there, it's still intact, and you get protection of the cage. The cage was only there to protect the lens. Now they gave you, but in this more basically GoPro 8, they are like, let's remove that. Why did they remove that? Because they know people need this feature, so they're gonna sell you this cage, and that is like $50 to $15 depending on price. Price is fluctuating too much. So they know for a fact that people need like a sacrificial layer, so to say, that it gets damaged rather than my main lens. And GoPro is like, yeah, you need that, so I'm gonna remove it, and I'm gonna sell you something else which you did not need to buy with Black 7. So that's literally, that's a Apple 101. Then another aspect, many people started to use GoPros because it has a clean HDMI output as a webcam, and it's a quite amazing webcam. Like compared to every other webcam, it's amazing, and you can do quite amazing live streaming. Elgato, like you go to Elgato's Stream Deck site, Stream Deck, I'm saying Elgato's capture card systems, you will see they are heavily showcasing that people are using GoPros for a web setup, and it's quite amazing. If you want to do live streaming, it is quite amazing. Like the only thing that you can comparably compare it to, either you have to buy a very high-end phone or like a micro four thirds system, and both of them will cost you more. So this was quite amazing in terms of streaming department. People loved it, people enjoyed it because it had USB for power and HDMI for video capture. Everything worked flawlessly. This time they're like, yeah, we know that you need that HDMI port, we're gonna remove it. So you have to buy this cage to get the HDMI output and the USB output and the microphone output. So you see, like they're literally becoming like Apple. So this, at this point in time, people are like, yeah. And not to mention the processor, like the exact microchip that is used in Black 7 versus Black 8 is exactly the same. So whatever performance boost you are getting in terms of like the hyper smooth and night mode and all that, all of those are firmware based, aka if they want to, they can sell that firmware to Black 7. But they're not. That's what I'm saying. Like this is literally becoming like a Apple 2.0. So I would urge you, like if you are in a scenario where like, hey, I need a GoPro, because again, it's a trusted brand, it's a reliable brand, and you want to do 4K 60 frames per second with known quality. Like GoPro has a look to it which people are like, yeah, that's a GoPro look, and you want that. You may be satisfied with Black 7. It's cheaper also. So, and you can utilize that money for other things. Like let's say you want to do live streaming, you can buy capture card for that price. Or if you want to do like let's say action camera and all that, you can buy a more robust SD card, like SD cards that are used for dash cams. Those are much more reliable. They will rarely fail electronically and physically also. They are reliable. So you spend that saved money much more effectively. And in terms of video performance, 75 Mbps to 100 Mbps, yes, there is a difference there, but that requires you to zoom into 150% to see that. It's not something that you will see even if you're doing normal video editing. Unless you like zoom in, fine tune it, exaggerate the contrast, you won't see that much. And once it goes to YouTube, good luck trying to find that out. So reality is, more often than not, you will be perfectly happy with Black 7 rather than Black 8. And not to mention, this has far more capability. Like if you want to be, say, let's say how Timcast does like his live streaming, where he has 3 people and you need 3 cameras. Try buying 3 independent cameras. You'll go broke very soon. However, buying 3 Black 7, you can do that, and you can have a Blackmagic quad channel capture card. Ta-da! So that's the reality of it. Like they are becoming like Apple, and that's something that my soul cannot allow that to happen. But again, it's a good camera. It's just what the company is doing with it is very horrifying. And not to mention, in terms of their innovation, they are no longer innovating. Like you can compare this to Insta360's latest offering, and it's like, damn, this literally is outdated. Like in terms of, again, they did not update the processor or the anything, so to say. So, and they removed things from it. So it is no longer like, wow. And not to mention, Black 7 has a battery performance of around 1 hour 15 minutes. This has a recording time of less than 1 hour. Like you will be lucky if you get 1 hour out of it. So it's not that amazing, like especially, and I can easily see that the people's response was not that great, and the price drop happened way too quickly. Generally price drop happens after a year. This time this price drop happened in a few months. Now you may say the world ended, that's why the price dropped, but again, more than enough people are like, dude, that's just stupid. You know for a fact that people need HDMI and you are removing it. You know for a fact people need a replaceable case because you are manufacturing it. That's like, and not to mention, many people are already, it's only a few months and people are like, yep, my fingers broke, now I can't replace it. So the reality is, like, it's no longer as like, GoPro and nothing else. Right now, GoPro is a choice, and it's no longer a amazing choice. Black 7, quite amazing. Black 8, not so much. So this was my presentation on basically GoPro Black 8 Black. I hope you liked it, learn from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I'd urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.